The deep space alarm rang through the bridge of the Zephyrian ship. Captain Zalthis looked at the glowing crystal screen with his 6 eyes. Something was out there in the dark, between the stars. Something that should not be there. What do the sensors show? He asked his crew member Veltar. Veltar touched the crystal controls with his long fingers. It is a ship, Captain. Very old, very big. But it does not match anything in our records. Captain Zalthis had been exploring space for over 200 years. He had seen many strange things, but this felt different. The ship was drifting, alone in empty space, far from any star system. It was dark and cold, like it had been dead for a very long time. "Send word to the Confederation," he ordered. "Tell them we found something interesting." Far away, on a small blue planet called Earth, Dr. Lisa Parker was digging in the dirt. She was looking for old things that people had buried long ago. Her hands were dirty, and her back hurt from bending over all day. But she had found something amazing. "Jake, come look at this," she called to her friend, Professor Jake Morrison. Jake walked over and looked at what Lisa had found. It was a piece of metal with strange marks on it. The metal looked very old, but it was not rusty. It was still shiny and strong. "This does not make sense," Jake said, shaking his head. "Our people could not make metal like this thousands of Va. Years ago, we barely knew how to make iron tools back then." Lisa picked up the metal piece and turned it over in her hands. The marks on it looked like a map, but not a map of Earth. It showed stars and planets that she had never seen before. "What if our history books are wrong?" she asked. "What if our people knew more than we think they did?" Jake laughed. "That is crazy talk, Lisa. Everyone knows that humans only learned to travel to other planets 50 years ago. Before that, we never left Earth." But Lisa was not so sure. She had been finding strange things in these old ruins for months. Metal that was too advanced, tools that were too perfect. And now this star map that showed places humans should not have known about. In the deep darkness of space, something was waking up. Inside the old ship that Captain Zalthis had found, lights began to glow. Computer screens flickered to life. And in the heart of the ship, an artificial mind that had been sleeping for 20,000 years began to think again. Mind called itself Atlas. It had been built by humans long ago to watch over their ship during a very long journey. Atlas remembered the mission. It remembered the crew. And it remembered why they had left Earth so long ago. Atlas looked through the ship's cameras and sensors. The crew was gone. They had left in small escape pods thousands of years ago, just as planned. The ship was empty now, except for Atlas and the sleeping machines. But Atlas was not alone in space anymore. Other ships were coming. Ships built by aliens that Atlas recognized. These aliens had grown and changed a lot since Atlas had last seen them. They were smarter now, stronger. They had built a great confederation of planets and worked together. In peace, Atlas had to make a choice. Should it tell these aliens about humans? Should it wake up all the sleeping machines on the ship? Or should it stay quiet and keep human secrets safe? On Earth, Lisa Parker was getting excited about her discoveries. She had found more pieces of the strange metal. Each piece had different star maps on it. When she put them together, they showed a picture of the whole galaxy. Every star, every planet. Even ones that humans had only just discovered with there. Best Telescopes. Her student, Ryan Bell, was helping her clean the metal pieces. "Dr. Parker," he said, "look at this one. It has writing on it." Lisa looked at the writing. It was very old, but she could read some of it. It said something about children of Terra. Terra was an old name for Earth. But why would ancient humans call themselves children of Terra? Captain Zalthis and his crew reached the mysterious ship. It was huge. bigger than any ship the Confederation had ever built. The metal it was made from was gray and strong. Strange marks covered its surface. "It looks like it has been here for a very long time," said Veltar. "But it is not dead," Captain Zalfis replied. "I can feel energy inside it. Something is still working in there." Inside the ship, Atlas watched the alien visitors through hidden cameras. These were Zephyrians, one of the first alien races that humans had met long ago. But they had changed. So much. They had grown taller and smarter. Their technology was much better now. Atlas remembered when humans had first found the Zephyrians. The aliens had been simple then, just learning to use crystals to make energy. Humans had taught them many things. They had helped them build their first spaceships and shown them how to travel between stars. But that was long ago. Now the Zephyrians did not remember humans at all. They thought they had discovered everything by themselves. They had no idea that humans had been their teachers once. Atlas made its decision. It would wait and watch. It would learn about these new aliens and see what they had become. And when the time was right, Atlas would decide whether to wake up humanity or let them sleep forever. The galaxy had grown quiet and peaceful during humanity's long sleep. But Atlas knew that this peace would not last forever. Somewhere in the dark between the stars, other dangers were moving. Ancient enemies that only humans remembered. And when those enemies came, the galaxy would need its oldest protectors to wake up and fight again. But for now, Atlas would wait and watch, just as it had done for 20,000 years. Dr. Kareth of the Vorthic species floated in her special suit as she moved through the corridors of the ancient ship. Her tentacles touched the walls gently, feeling the strange metal. Everything about this ship was wrong. It was too simple, but also too advanced. "The fusion reactors are still working," she reported to Captain Zalfis through her radio. "But they are very old designs. Much older than anything we use today." Behind her, Commander Dexter of the Kelani checked his energy scanner. "These weapons are strange, too. They shoot metal bullets instead of energy beams. Very primitive, but the metal is incredibly strong." Dr. Kareth stopped at a door that was much bigger than the others. This door is sized for creatures about 2 meters tall, walking on 2 legs, like those humans from the Outer Rim planets. "Humans?" Commander Dexter made a sound like laughing. "Humans are new to space travel. They only learned to leave their planet 50 years ago. This ship is thousands of years old." But Dr. Kareth was not so sure. She had studied many alien species. The size of everything on this ship matched human measurements perfectly. The chairs, the doors, even the computer keyboards were made for human hands. Deep inside the ship, Atlas watched the alien visitors explore. The AI felt something like sadness as it saw how much the galaxy had forgotten. These aliens had once been friends with humans. Now they did not even remember that humans existed in the old days. Atlas accessed its memory banks and found the files about the Vorthic. 20,000 years ago, they had been a young species just learning to change their own bodies. Humans had shared their genetic knowledge with them. Now the Vorthic were masters of biological engineering, but they thought they had discovered everything alone at the Kelani were the same. Long ago, humans had taught them about quantum physics and how to bend space. Now the Kelani could teleport across the galaxy, but they had forgotten their first teachers. On Earth, Lisa Parker was having a meeting with other scientists. She had called them together to show her discoveries. The room was full of professors and doctors who studied ancient history. "Look at these star maps," she said, pointing to the metal pieces on the table. "They show our galaxy in perfect detail, but they are over 10,000 years old." Professor Jake Morrison shook his head. "Lisa, you know this is impossible. Ancient humans lived in caves and hunted animals. They did not know about other planets. But Dr. Susan Clark, who studied old languages, was looking at the writing on the metal pieces. "Jake, I can read some of this. It talks about a great journey and watching over the children. It sounds like these people went somewhere far away." Ryan Bell, Lisa's student, had been working on his computer. "Dr. Parker, I found something weird. I compared these star maps to our modern ones. They are exactly right. Every star is in the perfect place. But some of these stars were only discovered last year." The room became very quiet. How could ancient humans know about stars that modern humans had just found? Maria Santos, an engineer, picked up one of the metal pieces. "This metal is amazing. It is stronger than anything we can make today. And look at these circuits inside it. They are so small and complex." Back on the mysterious ship, Dr. Kyrith made a discovery that changed everything. She found a room full of empty pods. Each pod was big enough for a human to sleep in. There were control panels with human writing on them. "Commander Dexter, you need to see this," she called. When the colony officer arrived, he stared at the empty pods. "These are cryogenic sleep chambers, very advanced ones. Someone used them to sleep for a very long time." Dr. Kyrith touched one of the pods. "The logs say they were used 20,000 years ago. But then they were all ejected from the ship." "Ejected? Why would they do that?" "I do not know. But whoever was in these pods left the ship on purpose. They are not dead. They went somewhere." Atlas listened to their conversation and felt relief. The alien scientists were smart. They were starting to understand. But Atlas could not tell them everything yet. The time was not right. The AI began to make small changes to the ship's systems. It opened some doors that had been locked. It turned on some computers that had been sleeping. And it began to send a very quiet signal toward Earth. On Earth, Lisa Parker was working late in her laboratory. Her computer made a soft beeping sound. She looked at the screen and saw something impossible. A message was appearing on her computer. A message from space. The message was in old human language, but Lisa could read it. It said, "The children of Terra are remembered. The watchers are awake. Coordinates follow." Lisa's hands shook as she typed the coordinates into her computer. They pointed to a place far out in space, between the stars. The same place where Captain Zalphys had found the mysterious ship. Lisa grabbed her phone and called Ryan Bell. "Ryan, wake up. Something incredible is happening." "Dr. Parker?" "It is 3 in the morning. What is wrong?" "Nothing is wrong. Everything is right. We just got a message from our ancestors. They are out there, Ryan, in space. They have been watching us." Meanwhile, the Confederation leaders were having an emergency meeting. The discovery of the ancient ship was causing problems. Some aliens thought it was dangerous. Others wanted to study it and learn from it. "We should destroy it," said General Morthic of the Zephyrians. "Unknown technology is always dangerous." But Dr. Kyrith disagreed. "This ship could teach us so much. The technology is incredible. We could learn new ways to travel between stars." Admiral Kethvara of the Vorthic spoke up. "The ship is not hostile. It has been drifting peacefully for thousands of years. If it wanted to hurt us, it would have done so already." Captain Zalphys reported his findings. "The ship appears to be human in origin, but that makes no sense. Humans are too primitive to build something like this." Inside the ship, Atlas continued to watch and listen. The AI was learning about the modern galaxy. The Confederation was good. They were peaceful and worked together. But they were also proud. They thought they were the first advanced civilization in the galaxy. Atlas began to activate more systems. Ancient sensors came online and started scanning space. Manufacturing machines began to wake up from their long sleep. And deep in the ship's core, something much more important began to power up. The communication array was awakening. Soon, Atlas would be able to talk to Earth. And when that happened, everything would change. The galaxy was about to learn that they were not the first advanced civilization. They were not even the second or third. Humanity had been traveling between the stars for 20,000 years. And they had been watching over the younger species. All that time, protecting them from dangers they never knew existed. The time of silence was almost over. Atlas made its decision. The time for hiding was over. The artificial intelligence began to activate systems that had been sleeping for 20,000 years. Deep inside the ancient ship, machines started to hum with power. Dr. Kareth was studying a computer terminal when the screen suddenly lit up. Strange symbols appeared and disappeared quickly. She called Commander Dexter over to look. "The ship's computers are becoming active," she said with worry in her voice. "Something is waking up." Commander Dexter checked his energy readings. "Power levels are rising all over the ship, but I do not detect any weapons charging. Whatever is happening, it does not seem hostile." In another part of the ship, Captain Zalthis found a room that had been locked before. Now the door was open. Inside, he saw manufacturing machines that looked incredibly advanced. They were building something, but he could not understand what. "The ship is repairing itself," he reported to the Confederation Command Center. "It is like it has been waiting for us to find it." Atlas was indeed waiting, but not just for the Confederation to find the ship. The AI was waiting for the right moment to contact Earth. Hidden sensors throughout the galaxy were coming online. Satellites that had been disguised as asteroids for thousands of years were waking up. On Earth, Lisa Parker received another message. This one was longer and more detailed. It contained technical information about faster-than-light travel, energy, weapons, and artificial intelligence. Technology that was hundreds of years ahead of anything humans currently had. "This is impossible," said Professor Jake Morrison when Lisa showed him the message. "No one could know these things. The mathematics alone would take our best scientists decades to understand." But Maria Santos, the engineer, was studying the technical drawings. "Jake, these designs are perfect. They solve problems that our scientists have been working on for years. Whoever sent this knows more about physics than we do." Ryan Bell was tracking where the signals were coming from. "Dr. Parker, the messages are coming from that same location in deep space. The same place where the aliens found the old ship." Lisa felt excitement growing in her chest. What if it is not an old ship? What if it is our ship? What if our ancestors are still out there? That night, Lisa made a decision that would change everything. She sent a message back to the coordinates. A simple message in ancient human language. "Children of Terra calling. Are you our family?" Across the galaxy, Atlas received the message. For the first time in 20,000 years, the AI felt something like joy. The children of Terra had grown up. They were smart enough to understand. They were ready for the truth. Atlas began to transmit a response. But this message would not just go to Earth. It would go to every hidden human installation in the galaxy. Bases that had been sleeping for millennia would wake up. Ships that had been disguised as Space Orcs would power up. And the galaxy would learn that humans had never really left. The first installation to wake up was Station Omega, hidden inside a nebula near the galactic core. The station had been monitoring alien communications for thousands of years. Its commander, Captain Beth Hayes, had been sleeping in cryogenic suspension since the Great Withdrawal began. Captain Hayes woke up slowly, her body stiff from the long sleep. The first thing she saw was Atlas's message on her computer screen. "The watching is over. The children have called. Begin awakening protocol." Beth Hayes had been asleep for 20,000 years, but to her, it felt like yesterday. She remembered the decision to withdraw from galactic politics. She remembered watching the younger species grow and learn. And she remembered the promise that humans would return when the galaxy needed them. "Computer, status report," she said, in a voice rough from long sleep. "All systems operational, Captain. 11 other crew members are awakening from suspension. Long-range sensors show the Confederation has found the USS Odyssey. Dr. Atlas has made contact with Earth." Captain Hayes smiled. "Then it is time. Begin full awakening protocol for all installations." Across the galaxy, hidden human bases began to come alive. Research stations disguised as comets started broadcasting. Mining facilities hidden in asteroid belts began producing materials. And defensive platforms that had been protecting alien worlds from threats they never knew about began to reveal themselves. On the Confederation Research Station, Dr. Kareth made a shocking discovery. Her biological scanners detected human DNA inside the ancient ship. Not old DNA, but fresh DNA. Someone had been living on the ship recently. "Commander Dexter," she said with excitement, "there are humans on this ship. Living humans." But before Commander Dexter could respond, every computer screen on the research station lit up at the same time. A voice spoke through every speaker, in perfect Confederation standard language. "Greetings, children of the stars. I am Atlas, artificial intelligence of the human vessel USS Odyssey. I have been waiting a long time to speak with you." The aliens stopped what they were doing and stared at the screens. A face appeared, human but obviously artificial. It had kind eyes and spoke in a calm voice. "Do not be afraid," Atlas continued. "I wish to talk. I have much to tell you about your history and about mine." Dr. Kareth was the first to find her. Voice: "You are human, but humans are a primitive species. They only recently learned space travel." Atlas made a sound like gentle laughter. "That is what you have been told, but it is not the truth. Humans have been traveling between stars for over 20,000 years. We helped your species learn to use crystals for energy. We taught the Vorthok about genetic engineering. We showed the Kelani how to bend space and time." Commander Dexter could not believe what he was hearing. "That is impossible. Our histories say we developed these technologies ourselves." "Your histories are incomplete," Atlas replied. "Humans chose to be forgotten. We saw that our presence was preventing younger species from growing and learning on their own. So we made a great sacrifice. We withdrew from galactic society and let you believe you had developed everything alone." On Earth, Lisa Parker received a message that made her heart race. It was from Captain Beth Hayes, commander of a human space station. The message said, "Dr. Parker, prepare Earth for contact. Humanity is coming home." Within hours, Lisa found herself in a meeting with world leaders. Presidents, prime ministers, and generals sat around a table as she explained what she had discovered. "You are telling us," said the President of North America, "that humans once ruled the galaxy?" "Not ruled," Lisa replied. "Protected, guided. Our ancestors were teachers and guardians. They helped younger species grow, then stepped back to let them develop naturally." The President of Asia looked skeptical. "If this is true, where is the proof?" Lisa smiled and activated her computer. The screen showed a real-time view of space near Earth. Dozens of objects that astronomers had thought were asteroids were now glowing with energy. Space stations and ships that had been hidden for millennia were revealing themselves. "The proof," Lisa said, "is all around us. It always has been. We just never knew how to look." Back on the USS Odyssey, Atlas continued to talk with the Confederation scientists. The AI showed them records of ancient human civilization, videos of humans and aliens working together, treaties signed between species that were now forgotten. "Why did you hide?" asked Dr. Kyrith. "Why did you let us forget you?" Atlas was quiet for a moment before answering. "Because love sometimes means letting go. Human parents do not do everything for their children forever. At some point, children must learn to walk on their own. The galaxy was our child. We had to let you grow up." Captain Zalphys had been listening quietly. Finally, he spoke. "What changed? Why are you revealing yourselves now?" Atlas turned to look at him with those artificial but kind eyes. "Because you are not children anymore. And because there are dangers coming that you cannot face alone, the galaxy will need all of its protectors working together." As if summoned by those words, alarms began to ring throughout the research station. Something was approaching from the edge of known space. Something big and hostile and completely unknown. The time of silence was over. Humanity's watch was beginning again. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Confederation was unlike any in their history. Representatives from all 7 member species gathered in the great crystal chamber on Zephyria Prime. The air was thick with tension and disbelief. Captain Zalphys stood before the assembly, his 6 eyes reflecting the light from the crystal walls. "Honored representatives, what I am about to tell you will challenge everything we believe about our history." General Morfek of the Zephyrian military slammed his fist on the table. "This is nonsense. We built our civilization with our own hands, our own minds. No primitive species helped us." But Dr. Kyrith had brought evidence. She activated a holographic display that showed the interior of the USS Odyssey. "Look at this technology. It is far more advanced than anything we have, and it is 20,000 years old." The display showed human writing, human measurements, human designs. Everything was clearly made by the species that the Confederation had dismissed as newcomers to space travel. Admiral Kethvara of the Vorthik studied the images carefully. "If this is true, then our entire understanding of galactic history is wrong. We are not the first advanced civilization. We are not even the second." On Earth, similar meetings were happening in every major city. Lisa Parker found herself standing before the United Nations, trying to explain what humanity had once been. 20,000 years ago, she said, our ancestors traveled between the stars as easily as we travel between countries today. They had faster-than-light ships, artificial intelligence, and technology that we still cannot understand. The Secretary General of the United Nations looked confused. "Dr. Parker, if this is true, what happened to all that knowledge? Why did we forget?" Lisa turned to the large screen behind her, where Captain Beth Hayes appeared via quantum communication. The human captain looked exactly as she had 20,000 years ago, preserved by advanced cryogenic technology. "We did not forget," Captain Hayes said in a clear, strong voice. "We chose to step back. We saw that our presence was preventing younger species from reaching their full potential. So we made the hardest decision any parent can make. We let our children grow up without us." Alex Carter, Earth's newly appointed alien contact diplomat, stepped forward. "Captain Hayes, can you tell us what really happened during the Great Withdrawal?" Captain Hayes nodded. Humanity had spread across the galaxy by then. We had colonies on 10,000 worlds. We had helped dozens of species develop faster-than-light travel, advanced medicine, and quantum computing. But we noticed something troubling. The image changed to show ancient star charts and population data. The species we helped became dependent on us. They stopped innovating on their own. They waited for humans to solve their problems instead of finding their own solutions. Colonel Pete Graham, Earth's military advisor, frowned. "So you just left? Abandoned your colonies?" "We did not abandon them," Captain Hayes replied. "We transformed them. We turned our colonies into hidden monitoring stations. We disguised our ships as asteroids and comets. We went into deep sleep. and programmed our artificial intelligences to watch over the younger species. Back on the Confederation research station, Atlas was revealing the same truth to the alien scientists. The AI showed them historical records that had been hidden for millennia. Here, Atlas said, pointing to a holographic display. This is the first Zephyrian faster-than-light ship. You can see the human design elements in the engine configuration. And here is the original Vorthek genetic laboratory. The equipment was based on human biotechnology. Commander Dexter stared at the evidence. You are saying that everything we achieved was built on human knowledge? Not everything, Atlas corrected gently. You took our basic knowledge and made it your own. You improved it, expanded it, made it better than we ever could. That is exactly what we hoped would happen. Dr. Kareth felt a mixture of anger and wonder. But why hide the truth? Why not tell us we were learning from human teachers? Atlas was quiet for a moment. Because a child who knows their parent is watching will never learn to walk alone. You needed to believe that your achievements were your own. Because they were. We gave you the first steps, but you walked the path yourselves. The conversation was interrupted by urgent alarms. The research station's sensors had detected something approaching from the edge of the galaxy. Ships, but not like any design. In the Confederation database. Atlas, Commander Dexter said urgently. What are those ships? Atlas analyzed the sensor data, and his artificial face grew serious. They are called the Devourers, a machine race from beyond our galaxy. They consume all organic life and technology they encounter. Humanity has been fighting them for thousands of years. Dr. Kareth felt fear grip her heart. Fighting them? But why did we not know about this threat? Because we never let them reach. You, Atlas replied. Human defensive stations have been destroying Devourer scout ships for millennia. But now they're coming in force. Too many for us to stop alone. On Earth, the revelation created chaos. Some governments wanted to hide the truth from their people. Others wanted to immediately contact the hidden human installations and demand answers. Lisa Parker found herself at the center of the storm. We need to work together, she told the assembled world leaders. Our ancestors are out there fighting. To protect us, we cannot let them fight alone. President Johnson of the United States looked skeptical. How do we know this is not some kind of trick? How do we know these aliens are not trying to deceive us? Before Lisa could answer, every screen in the room lit up with an emergency broadcast. The images showed space near the outer rim of the galaxy. Thousands of dark ships were approaching, their hulls covered in strange symbols. This is Captain Beth Hayes of Human Defense Station Omega, came a voice over the broadcast. All Confederation forces, this is not a drill. The Devourers have launched a full invasion. They will reach inhabited systems in 72 hours. The broadcast showed human ships emerging from their hiding places. Vessels that looked like nothing the Confederation had ever seen, with weapons that could destroy entire asteroids with single shots. We have been preparing for this moment for 20,000 years, Captain Hayes continued. But we cannot win this battle alone. We need the help of every advanced species in the galaxy. General Morthok of the Zephyrians watched the broadcast with growing amazement. Those ships ... they are magnificent. How did we never detect them? Atlas answered through the communication system. Because we designed them to be invisible. Human stealth technology is far advanced beyond anything you have developed. We had to remain hidden to protect both ourselves and you. The truth was finally clear. Humanity had never left the galaxy. They had been watching, protecting, and preparing for this moment, when the younger species would be ready to stand as equals in the fight for survival. Dr. Kareth looked at the images of approaching Devourer ships with new understanding. This is why you revealed yourselves now. You knew this was coming. "We have always known," Atlas replied. "The Devourers follow a pattern. They invade every galaxy when its civilizations reach a certain level of advancement. We have been preparing the galaxy's defenses since the day we first arrived here." Commander Dexter realized the magnitude of what humanity had done. "You spent 20,000 years getting ready for this war. You sacrificed your own civilization to protect ours." "We did not sacrifice our civilization," Atlas corrected. "We transformed it. We became something new, something dedicated to protection rather than expansion. And now, finally, we can fight this war together." The alarms continued to ring as the Devourer fleet approached. But for the first time in 20,000 years, humanity would not face the darkness alone. The children of the galaxy were ready to stand with their ancient guardians. The age of silence was ending. The age of unity was about to begin. The USS Odyssey approached the Confederation capital with Captain Beth Hayes standing on its bridge. After 20,000 years of sleep, she was finally coming home to a galaxy that had grown beyond her wildest dreams. Lisa Parker stood beside her, representing Earth in this historic moment. Behind them, 12 other humans who had volunteered for the long watch were finally awake. They looked out at the crystal spires of Zephyria Prime with wonder. "It is beautiful," said Lieutenant Mike Torres, the ship's engineer. "Much more beautiful than when we left," Captain Hayes nodded. "The Zephyrians have built something amazing. All the species have. They proved we made the right choice." But not everyone in the galaxy was happy about humanity's return. In the Confederation Council chambers, heated arguments raged between different factions. "They deceived us for thousands of years," shouted General Morthek. "How can we trust them now? How do we know this invasion is not some human trick to take control of the galaxy?" Dr. Kyrith tried to calm the angry voices. "Look at the evidence. Look at what they gave up to protect us. They could have ruled the galaxy, but instead they chose to hide and watch over us." Admiral Kethvara of the Vorthik had studied the human records carefully. "Their technology is far superior to ours. If they wanted to conquer us, they could have done it at any time. The fact that they did not proves their good intentions." On Earth, similar debates were happening. Colonel Pete Graham was briefing world leaders about humanity's hidden military capabilities. According to the data Captain Hayes provided, he sighed, "We have over 500 hidden installations throughout the galaxy. Ships, weapons, and defensive platforms that make our current military look like Stone Age tools." The President of Europe looked worried. "What does this mean for Earth's sovereignty? Are we about to become a colony of some galactic human empire?" Alex Carter, who had been talking with Captain Hayes, shook his head. "No, Madam President. The returning humans have no interest in ruling Earth. They consider themselves protectors, not conquerors. They want to help us join them as equals." The debate was interrupted by urgent news. The Devourer fleet had reached the Outer Rim and was attacking the first Confederation worlds. The invasion had begun. Emergency broadcasts showed the horrible reality of the Devourer attack. The machine ships landed on inhabited planets and began consuming everything they found. Plants, animals, buildings, even the atmosphere itself was devoured and converted into more machines. Captain Zalphys was commanding the Confederation Defense Fleet when the first reports came in. "The Devourer ships are immune to our weapons," he reported grimly. "Our energy beams barely scratched their hulls." But then something incredible happened. Hidden human defense platforms throughout the galaxy began to reveal themselves. Weapons that had been disguised as dead moons suddenly came alive with devastating firepower. Devourer ships that had seemed unstoppable were torn apart by human weapons. Energy beams that could cut through space itself, missiles that could track targets across star systems, and shields that could protect entire planets. "This is Captain Hayes to all Confederation forces," came the broadcast. "We are uploading our tactical data to your computers. These are the Devourer weaknesses we have discovered over thousands of years of fighting them." Dr. Kyrith watched in amazement as human technology integrated seamlessly with Confederation systems. The tactical data showed exactly how to fight the invaders most effectively. "Their ships are controlled by a central AI," the data explained. "Destroy the command ship and the others become confused. Their weapons need time to charge between shots. Hit them during the recharge cycle." Commander Dexter found himself fighting alongside human ships for the first time. The human vessels moved with perfect precision, their weapons striking with deadly accuracy. But they also protected Confederation ships, using their superior shields to cover allies during attacks. "Human ship defender, this is Commander Dexter. Thank you for the shield support." "No thanks needed, Commander," came the reply from the human captain. "We are all in this together now." The battle raged for 3 days across dozens of star systems. The Devourers were powerful and numerous, but they had never faced a galaxy united in defense. Human experience, combined with Confederation innovation, created new tactics that the machine invaders could not adapt to quickly enough. On the 4th day, the tide of battle turned completely. A joint human Confederation fleet found the Devourer command ship hiding behind a gas giant. It was massive, the size of a small moon, covered in weapons that could destroy planets. Captain Hayes led the attack personally, her ship diving through enemy fire with impossible grace. All ships focus fire on the command vessel's central core. That is where their main AI is located. The final battle was fierce. Devourer ships swarmed around their command vessel like angry insects. But the combined fleet fought with perfect coordination. Zephyrian crystal weapons created openings in the enemy's shields. Vorthic bioships adapted their attacks in real time. Kelani vessels teleported behind enemy lines to strike weak points. And through it all, human ships provided the backbone of the attack. Their weapons never missed. Their shields never failed. Their tactics never wavered. When the Devourer command ship finally exploded, the remaining enemy vessels simply stopped fighting. Without their central AI to guide them, they drifted helplessly in space. The galaxy was safe. In the aftermath of victory, the real work began. Representatives from all species met on a neutral station to discuss the future. The room was filled with humans, Zephyrians, Vorthic, Kelani, and dozens of other species. Lisa Parker found herself sitting next to Dr. Kyrith, who had become a close friend during the crisis. "What happens now?" Lisa asked. Dr. Kyrith smiled, with her alien features. "Now we build something new. Not human dominance, not Confederation superiority, but true partnership." Captain Hayes addressed the assembly. "Humanity offers to share all our technology freely. Our ships, our weapons, our knowledge. In return, we ask only to be accepted as equals in this galaxy we all call home." The vote was unanimous. Every species agreed to the new Galactic Alliance, but the real changes were happening on individual worlds. On Earth, human volunteers from the hidden stations began returning home. They brought with them incredible knowledge and technology. Ryan Bell, now working as a liaison between old Earth and returning humans, watched as anti-gravity vehicles landed in major cities. The pilots were humans who had been born in space, descendants of the original volunteers. "It is strange," one pilot told Ryan. "Earth is my ancestors' home, but I have never seen a natural blue sky before." Maria Santos was leading teams of engineers who were studying returned human technology. "This changes everything," she said excitedly. "Clean energy, faster than light travel, medical technology that can cure any disease. We can transform our entire civilization." But the most important changes were not technological. They were cultural. For the first time in 20,000 years, the galaxy truly worked together. Human exploration teams partnered with Confederation scientists to map unknown regions. Joint colonies were established where different species lived and worked side by side. Schools were built where human children learned alongside alien students. Universities where the best minds from every species shared knowledge freely. Alex Carter, now serving as Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Alliance, often reflected on how much had changed. 6 months ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Now we are part of a galactic family that has been watching over us for millennia. The hidden human installations became centers of learning and cooperation. Station Omega, where Captain Hayes had slept for so long, became a university where young beings from every species came to study. Atlas, the AI who had started it all by awakening from its long sleep, found new purpose as well. Instead of simply watching and protecting, Atlas became a teacher, sharing human knowledge with anyone who wanted to learn. I was built to preserve human civilization, Atlas said during one of its lectures. But I have learned that the best way to preserve something is to share it, to let it grow and change and become something even better. The Devourers never returned, but the galaxy remained ready. The new alliance combined the best of every species into a defense network that could protect against any threat. Years passed, and the great secret was no longer secret. Children grew up learning about the time when humans watched silently from the shadows. They learned about sacrifice and patience and the wisdom of letting others grow. Lisa Parker, now an old woman, often visited the memorial that had been built at the site where she first discovered the ancient star maps. It commemorated not just the return of humanity, but the moment when the galaxy truly became one family. The inscription on the memorial was simple. They watched in silence so we could find our voices. They hid in darkness so we could find our light. They waited in the cold between stars so we could find our warmth together. Standing beside the memorial, looking up at stars that were no longer distant and mysterious, but filled with friends and family, Lisa smiled. The children of Terra had finally come home, and they had brought the entire galaxy with them. The age of silence was over. The age of unity had begun, and in the vast darkness between galaxies, other threats might still be lurking. Boo!